Good Thursday evening, good people. Welcome to another edition of Folks Talking Sports. The Houston Roundball Review presents Folks Talking Sports, sponsored by the Saxenian family and the great man Steve Saxenian for all of his support to us and to me personally. I am Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. As you see with me on the screen, joining me is Willy Gibson, the third member of the trio. Andy Yanez is hoping to join us toward the end of the show. He got called away on another commitment. So, Brother Gibson, how are you, sir?
Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there, doing well. Let's get into it. Little did we know when we agreed to the show right now is that the biggest game in the history of the NBA is taking place right now between Brooklyn and Philadelphia. James Harden and Joel Embiid and the Sixers against KD, Kyrie, and the Nets. And that's how the national media is hyping it. It's the most important game. It's the biggest game in the history of sports. And shame on us for doing this show while that game is being played. One, I didn't think about it. Two, couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about Mr. What's the term they use for him? Mr. Harden lately? Passive aggressive? That's not it. Something else.
I'm not sure.
I just call it Mr. Got to have my way. If not, I'll bail on a team. Dude, he's done that twice in the last couple of years, and it's amazing how folks just seem to forget that. He's so talented, but it is like excuse all that. He built on the Rockets. He built on the Nets. But hey, he's a great player. It's all good. Your thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, that's interesting. As you said, selective amnesia. You know, we believe what we want to believe. We remember what we want to remember. And it was just, a year and a half ago that he was looking like, he had a bodysuit under his uniform. And then all of a sudden he got to Brooklyn, and the Houston, that is. Mm-hmm. And then he got to Brooklyn. And it's like, he dropped like 30 pounds in like 2 weeks.
And then he got fat again. And cried his way out of Brooklyn so he could go to Philadelphia to be with his enablers of Daryl Morey and Pat Brown and those folks who just truly epitomize James, it's okay that you're such a great player. We're going to excuse everything else and just let you get away with it. Come home, James. Come to us. We'll take care of you. Whatever you want us to do, James, it's all good. So
didn't they give you the night off in Miami last week?
Yeah, I wonder why that was.
Oh,
just saying, I'm not big into social media, but what is the phrase? The Miami nightlife is undefeated.
South Beach flu.
There you go. South Beach. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So
Cavs are hopefully not going to experience that. They've been there since Tuesday.
So yeah, that'll be a thing there as well. But here we are, chopping it up on Folks Talking Sports on Twitter at our. Let me do better with this, Brother Gibson. Let me post this right now at our Folks Talk Sports Twitter account. Got to start promoting that more. Do a better job of branding that account for us, the Folks Talk Sports Twitter account, where you can subscribe, follow us on that account to get info on our upcoming shows and Mr. Yanez, the young genius of the crew, tweet out segments that you can watch later on. But right now we're streaming the show on Folks Talk Sports as well as on Houston Roundball Review's YouTube channel and also Houston Roundball Review on Facebook. Different areas to reach the audiences. And you and I and Andy, we're going to work with our man AJ Jones and Jones Media and Entertainment soon on his new platform. He's finalizing the details and hammer out the coding and the studio and all that good stuff. And we'll have Folks Talk Sports on that platform, as well as Mr. Gibson's Buckeye Show. That I'm making him going to do one. And also Let's Talk Houston Rockets will be on there as well. So yes, I'm holding it to that, sir. I'm putting you on point, on blast right now in front of the live audience on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. You will have some sort of Buckeye show on there to discuss the Ohio State Buckeyes.
All love. Let's get it.
And speaking of the Ohio State Buckeyes, you sent me something that was very serious. So just discuss that in some more details if you don't mind, sir.
No, I don't. Starting center, Harry Miller, football, football center. Harry Miller retired today medically due to mental health, and young man poured his heart.
Mm-hmm.
He really, it struck me because, and I'll say it, and I don't have a problem. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. I mean, he's a college. He's 21, 22 years old. Um, Great family, mom, dad, always at the games. Great conversation. He had an NIL deal, has an NIL deal, and he took it with the stipulation that they donated to his charity that he works with, abandoned children in Nicaragua.
Okay.
So he's, very strong in his faith, very strong in community service. And he spring football practice started on Tuesday for Ohio State, and he wasn't present. So, a couple questions were being asked. Where's Harry? Where's Harry? 2 year starting center. Missed last year. We thought, well, no, now we thought due to injury, and now we know what the injury was. He actually went to Coach Ryan Day and said, "Coach, I have thoughts of ending my life." And to his credit, Ryan Day immediately connected him with medical professionals that could help him. And he felt better, thought he could, step back in a few weeks and give football another shot, and just decided, no, I'm not going to do it. He talked in this piece, he wrote a retirement letter on Twitter, and he talked about the cut marks on his wrist and on his throat that he covered with tape.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. You just never know. I mean, we say it, and it's almost cliche-ish at points that you don't know what anyone is going through at any given time. But he really, I mean, to a person that I talked to that covers this team and is around this team, no one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew the depths of the challenges he was dealing with. So, all we can do is, pray for his success going forward, commend him for being strong
Mm-hmm.
to disclose what actually he's been dealing with. So,
Indeed, man. I read what you sent me that he posted on social media, and that's serious, man. That's life. Talking about um, cutting, on his wrist, on his throat. The marks, the scars,
yep,
and he hit him with tape or clothes or whatever.
yep.
But yeah, he was in a dark place, and he decided to retire and be at peace with his decision and with his life. So I commend him for that. And he made a point. It wasn't a point, but he wanted to let some folks know that he's not a dumb jock. He's got a 4.0.
Oh,
So
in engineering, mechanical engineering.
yes. So as also to indicate that anyone could have mental health issues. It's not just people who, quote unquote, aren't smart or intelligent, aren't capable of handling their emotions, aren't smart enough to deal with that. So I do commend him and I wish him the best going forward with his life and whatever he decides to do going forward with his life. And that's serious. Too many people,
Yep.
too many people choose to forget that these athletes are people first. High school, college, and pro. They feel like just because you buy a ticket, you buy their jersey, that you own a piece of them. Not the case at all. These young men and women have families, have lives that they endure. Sports is just a part of who they are. It is not all of who they are. And far too many folks in society just ignore that fact and try to treat these athletes as commodities, as their own property. And that's just not the case. And it's overwhelming for some people. So I'm glad to see him do what was best for him. So let's get into some entertainment. and serious stuff as we wait for our guest to join us. Something new we're going to branch out in, and hopefully the audience will enjoy it as we bring him in a few minutes. But we're going to talk Cougs in that in a few moments. But let's talk your Cavs.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers. Darius Garland put on a show, shining bright. Is he healthy?
Yeah, I think it is now. They gave him a little time to get his back right. Bone bruise in his back. He took some time off after the All-Star game, which he got ridiculed, ripped up and down. How could he play in the All-Star game and now miss a week after? He shouldn't have played in the game. When we all know the All-Star game is a glorified pickup game.
Right.
He's not exerting himself. And by the way, it's in his city. He's selected to the game in his city. Of course he's going to play.
Right.
But yeah, he's back. And 41-13 on Tuesday night. 21 in the fourth quarter. And he's validating day by day that All-Star selection.
How serious is Jared Allen's injury?
Fractured middle finger on his non-shooting hand. Cavs are being very tight-lipped about length of time. As of right now, we don't believe surgery is required. They did sign Moses Brown today to a 10-day contract, most recently in Dallas, which I kind of was unclear as to why they signed him today instead of tomorrow on a 10-day, just playing semantics, keeping him an extra day on that 10-day. But they did sign him today officially, so he will be in uniform tomorrow, Friday, against the Miami Heat in Miami. But as of right now, it's day to day. They haven't given him a timetable, as Jared Allen, that is, a timetable to return. But it is a fractured middle finger on his left hand, non-shooting hand.
And joining us right now, he's going to pull him up from the back room as I learn this new technology here. The owner of Play Action Pools. I mean, that's what we're gonna learn more about, Mr. Gibson. You and I together.
Yeah.
Mr. Christian McCollum. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Can you guys hear me good?
Yes, sir. You sound fine. Thank you very much. Christian, he reached out to me, Willy Gibson, and audience and family, and I on his show to discuss Houston Cougars men's basketball. And Christian, I'm going to give you the floor, man. Tell us a little bit more about Play Action Pools and what it's about and how can folks participate.
All right, cool. Yeah, no problem. I was, you think about office pools. Play Action Pools is an office, sports pool hosting platform. And, growing up, I was always that kid, not even that guy, that kid who was the guy that ran all the pools for everybody. I mean, going back to like 6th grade and stuff. And, through high school and college, and then we get out of college, there's a lot of more different platforms. Look, we used to do a thing where, for our March Madness bracket, nobody trusted anybody. So you had to print out all the sheets. So you didn't just get your sheet. You got everybody in the thing sheet because, one year my buddy was running it and his grandmother won it, and that happened twice. And we said, that's it. We got to see them all now up front. So then you get into online comes around and we can do that. So we did a lot of online stuff, in recent years. And, for a while I was just like, man, we could do something better than this. Like we can make it better than this. And my wife was finally just tired of hearing me talk about it. So she was like, why don't you go ahead and do something about it? So, we launched in August and obviously football, we launched with football. We had some, NFL.
Hold up, man. In August?
Yeah, we launched in August.
So last August 2021. Oh, this is brand new. Okay, cool.
Brand new, yeah. All right. Brand new, man. We were startup brand new. So we rolled out with football. We had some NFL and some college stuff going on. And now we're rolling into March Madness. And I think you mentioned last time during last show, my full-time job, I write for Irish Sports Daily, which is a Notre Dame publication. So, yeah. The Irish. I'm watching the Irish right now. We're down 10.
He's a Buckeye.
I heard.
September 3rd.
Yeah. We got a young quarterback, so you guys might be favored there, but but we got a lot of partnerships with a lot of my friends that are in that same community in terms of, independent websites attached to colleges. We have friends that cover Ohio State, Buckeye Scoop. We got friends down in Texas, inside Texas, and, Texas A&M, Tex Ags, and Scoop Duck out in Oregon, and Gator Country in Florida, and Inside Pack Sports and NC State, and for the bloggy Penn State, all over the place. So, once it comes around basketball, now it's getting towards March Madness, and we're looking to kind of grow that play action family. And like Kris said, I reached out to him, saw what you guys were doing with the Houston Roundball review. And the Cougars are doing great, obviously. So, I was glad to have Kris on my show last week and, kind of inform everyone on, what's going on with Houston this season. And I appreciate you guys having me on here.
All right. So how does it work for fans, basketball fans, people who can people get a pool together? How does it work? Let us know.
Yeah, so we'll get you guys set up. I gave Kris a peek at what it might look like. We'll get the Houston Roundball review set up with your guys' own official, bracket contest, right? We'll get you guys set up there and similar bracket. I'm working on trying to get some Houston-related prizes for your, the people that join. It'll be free to join that. And so that's just your typical bracket. But, the kind of our flagship contest, the one we really like and we think is a lot of fun for people, it's a little different. We call it Build Your Bankroll. And this is a virtual sports book. So, me and my buddies do it. My father-in-law does it, where everyone starts with 10,000 shares and they're just points. It's not dollars. And you have the ability to wager those shares as you go. So when the March Madness comes, I know that I'll be in a contest when someone's going to go all 10,000 shares. They're going to risk them all the very first game. And if they win, they're going to double up. But if they lose, they're going to be out. Okay. And you're going to have some guys that are going to protect it. And they're going to be real stingy, and all my friends are going to make fun of them and call them cowards and stuff like that. And those guys will be around to the end. They might not be in the best position. So you want to kind of have a stay in the middle there. So you basically start with 10,000 points. It's point spreads, money lines, over-unders throughout the NCAA tournament. And, as you win, you build your bankroll. So your bankroll will grow. As you lose, that bankroll will start to dwindle. So at some point, you have the ability to go on all in at any time. It's just a really, really fun format. The way I look at it is, sports gambling is becoming more and more prominent these days. And Indeed. I think what a lot of people are finding out is it's fun. It ain't so fun when you lose, and you lose some money and you feel sick to your stomach and it's just gross. But these contests here allow you to kind of, participate, have a little interest in the game, whatever's amongst your friends, and watch it. And, if you win, you'll be happy. But if you lose, man, you don't have to figure out what you got to tell your wife or anything like that, or your girlfriend or your mom if you're a sixth grader running these pools. So it's just really, really fun format. And we'll have that up and running on playactionpools.com when March Madness rolls around here. Fantastic,
man. I got one friend of mine who I'm going to hit him up because I'm pretty sure he's going to be all over this, man. He likes to do a little bit of both, the real thing and the online stuff. So he's good at it. He's good at it. I stink.
You know what though? This is a good format too for, a lot of guys, and not your friend, but a lot of guys like to tell you they're good at it, right? And they tell you about all their wins. All right, well, let's go on and see. We're going to see now the standings. We'll find out. We'll find out. The numbers aren't going to lie.
Willy Gibson, you up for this challenge, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. I'll get it. Okay. I was going to drag you forward into it anyway. I know.
I already know.
Yeah.
We'll have something for football as well. So we can make a little wager on the Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Buckeyes opener.
All right, let's go. Now, are you in South Bend? I'm sorry, I missed that at the beginning. Are you in South Bend?
No, I lived in South Bend for 3 years. I used to cover the team. So when I first started at Irish Sports Daily, I was the beat reporter. So I would cover the team, practices, press conference, all that stuff. Moved to South Bend, lived there for 3 years. My son was born about 6 months after I moved there. And when he getting a little bit older, a little 3, I talked to my boss and I was able to move back. I'm originally from Massachusetts. So I was able to move back here, let him be around family a little bit. And I transitioned to recruiting. So I've been covering recruiting full time for the last 10 years. I know you guys were talking about Harry Miller earlier. I mean, what a story. I covered Harry when he was a recruit. Everyone in the country was after him. And, just reading how powerful those words were, I got someone very close to me, very dear to me, who's going through a lot of that stuff right now, like literally now. Yeah. And one thing I was telling them is like, it's okay not to be okay, right. and I think that, the way we've grown up in society doesn't, kind of shun people like that or just kind of swept it under the rug. And people that are going through those issues, they don't realize that they're not alone. There's nothing wrong with them. And someone like Harry coming out and, putting all that out there is really going to help other people. I have no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Well put, Kristen. Thank you for that. And on not say happier note, but another note, did y'all see Buddy Boeheim's inadvertent, according to his dad's punch? What were your thoughts on that?
I saw it, and it definitely wasn't inadvertent. And I was surprised that his dad came out and defended him so staunchly.
Yeah.
It wasn't inadvertent, but at the same time, like I thought that should have been a technical, maybe a flagrant too. But to be suspended, that was a lot. I mean, I agree, give it wasn't inadvertent, but it also didn't seem like it wasn't a. You say someone threw a punch, I'm like, oh snap, he must have hit this dude in the jaw.
Right.
A little love tap there. I don't know.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. And the interesting part is they didn't catch it live in game action. They saw it online. They saw it virtual when the clip went virtual or viral rather. It's like, how do you retroactively?
Which is weird. Where was the quote unquote baseline official?
Yeah, because
I mean, typically an official is there to give the ball for the inbounds after a bucket. So where was that official? What was that official looking at? So So retro to go back and say, well, it was missed during the game, but we're going to suspend you anyway.
The other Boeheim kid was hitting shots today, and they had a chance. You like to say like, oh, what if, but I mean, man, Buddy Boeheim, he's their best player. So who knows what happens if he's able to play? And man, that's tough, to see that go. I mean, I don't know, Boeheim, that could be it for him.
Yeah, and that ends his career, right? That's it. Yeah, that ends his career.
So it was strange, and I know I'm not a dad, okay? You guys are, but for Coach Boeheim to blindly defend his son when we could also, he said, what did he say? The kid pushed him twice. Oh, it was a box out, just one, and it was invert. No, it wasn't, Coach. No, it wasn't. But okay, whatever, man. Christian, how soon will you have it up and running for us and Houston Roundball Review to get our people involved and to have some fun?
So my hope is to have it up and running tomorrow morning. I got a meeting with the web developers, and I'm learning all these different terms. Well, I've learned them now, but like deployment and development and this server and that server and sandboxes. And when I talked to the guys today, they were very excited about getting in the sandbox. And there's our data company runs simulations, so they're messing around with it all today. And they told me, hey, tomorrow morning we're gonna have a call, and we're gonna deploy here, and then we're gonna deploy there. So bottom line, we will tweet it out. I'll tag you. I'll share a link with you so you can share it with all your followers and stuff like that, and we'll be ready to go. We're gonna hope to have the everything up and running by tomorrow morning, but definitely by Selection Sunday. You guys will have it. We'll send it out to you, and I'll definitely be promoting on our account at Play Action Pools.
Fantastic, man, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you connecting with me, and I'm going to kind of pat myself on the back when you asked me about what kind of teams could give Houston trouble. Well, Memphis is one of those teams.
Yep, so, absolutely.
So I do okay. Willie, I surprised Chris when I told him when I mentioned how long I've been doing this. Going on 30 years. So right. I picked up a thing or two here in that time. So.
And we'll have to have you back on. So when we see what Houston's draw looks like for next week, we'll have to get you back on real quick and just give us your take on what it looks like for them in that little region they end up in.
Look forward to it, man. Thank you as always for taking this time to join us on this show of Folks Talking Sports and Play Action Pools and fans, followers of Houston Roundball Review. We got something for you coming up in a few days. So some friendly competition. Looking forward to that. Mr. Gibson, I might have to take you down a notch too. Sir, no, I'm not. I'm not good, and I'm not even going to talk that junk. I'm not that good in this in picking stuff. Although the shirt I'm wearing is from a media sponsor pool that I won through ESPN Swag long time ago. So I gave up. I stopped playing after that because I was like, I won. So why bother playing anymore? But Kris McCollum, thank you, my man, and look forward to working with you going forward in the future and making this a bigger and better thing for everybody involved.
Absolutely, Chris. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks a lot, Willie.
All right, Chris. Thank you,
man.
See you guys.
All right. Awesome, man. Awesome. And see, we got Rocket fans chiming in. Willie, let me say this, man. I'm going to be messy for a moment.
Please.
I see this name in the comments, Brandon Thomas.
Okay.
Brandon Thomas was like a ghost for a while on the Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows. Now, all of a sudden, Rockets beat the Lakers Wednesday night. He comes popping up, flying in. He's all hyped. He's made 4 or 5 comments, just hyped up. I'm pumped. He's still pumped. Look at this. Look at this comment. Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at this. Rockets, baby. He's bragging, all smiling. But see, this is how you know he's a fan. He's really, a true fan. He's a fanatic right here. This is the dude who predicted 33 wins. Okay.
Whoa.
He predicted that.
So he's saying they're going to run the table. So basically,
that's 2 more wins than Andy predicted. Andy said 31 wins.
Right.
So, yeah, Brandon picked 33 way back when, and then he was quiet. Yeah, Brandon, I know you were here a week ago, but before that, I didn't know where you were. I thought something happened to you, brother. So I'm glad you're back. I'm glad, Rockets are playing well. But we can talk about that for a few more minutes, and hopefully Andy can join us in these last few minutes of the show. Did you hear in Ohio any people declaring throughout this season Jalen Green was a bust?
No.
I did, and we did on the Rockets show in Missouri.
Really?
This considered as a source. Some people were just like, Jalen Green, number 2 pick. It was the Rockets made a mistake. He's going to be a bust. He can't. I haven't heard a peep from them in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and haven't heard anything from them today. After he gave the Lakers the blues last night, dropping 32 on them,
32.
10 in the overtime. So where y'all at? I'm not a fan, but I do observe, and I notice who says what when. So, but where y'all at right now? Y'all kind of quiet. We're gonna look back at the top of this draft with Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey. This could be one of those special drafts.
It could be.
Look back going forward 10 years from now. Boy, remember that 2021 class? Man, look at all these all-star appearances these dudes making here, left and right, man.
Right.
So, and on point. Because remember Kobe's rookie season?
The air balls against
the air ball against Utah. Oh, this young fella ain't ready. He ain't ready. He just ain't ready. Oh my gosh, he made a mistake. He shouldn't have come out. He's no. And then 20 years later, all-time great. Oh, okay. But some of y'all way back when. So it's just funny how things work. But Jalen Green is a talent. He and Cade are not the same position. So let's just stop that comparison. Cade's a point guard. Detroit realized that probably around December. He's a point guard. Jalen is a 2 guard who has the ability to break down a defense and facilitate and get some assists. But he's not going to have the ball in his hands the whole time like Cade will. So 2 different dudes. But yes, the Rockets. Let me ask you, Mr. Gibson.
Yes, sir.
What's your thought on tanking? I don't believe players tank.
No. Players don't. Organizations do. Front offices do.
Well put. Yes. And
But
this
no
year
players.
example, look at Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Yusuf Nurkic. Lo and behold, big fella, look like you got something bothering you. What is it? I forgot what is it. Specifically, like a knee, groin, whatever. Yeah, man. We're going to shut you down for the rest of the season. A day after he had like a 20-10 performance. Yeah, man, I think you look like that's going to be a long-term injury, man. You need to rest. You need to take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's front office tanking. Okay? Players want to win. Players want to compete. Players want to win because players know this is point 1. This is one of the points. They're playing for the next contract.
Yep.
2, they don't want those youngsters to come take their job.
That's it.
So, well, different scenario, but I'm not going to argue with that point right there by James Harden. I'm not going to, I'll put it like this. In terms of draft position, players don't try to lose. I'll say it that way, because I mean, I think in different sports, pro sports, we have good examples of players, veterans, who just kind of chunk it in. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good for the season. Yeah, I'm done. You know, whatever.
I mean, organizations take. I mean, they're doing it in Houston right now. John Wall played how many games this year?
None.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh, well, I don't know if that I would call that tanking. I'd call that being naive, because they really believed that they were going to find a trade partner for John Wall.
Okay.
They really did. Back in October, Rafael Stone, I don't know if John's representatives convinced him of that fact, or if someone else in the league, you know, said, hey, man, John has some value. I had no value.
Not if he doesn't play.
Especially if he doesn't play. So I just don't understand why they agreed to that and why they thought. I mean, they were convinced that it would get done by December.
Wow.
That someone will make a trade for John by December. Here we are, March, past deadline. Mm-hmm. John ain't going nowhere until the summer. And to show you how everybody's okay with it, Brandon, Pretty Eye Hits, did you see, was it Tuesday? Monday, this Monday, Rockets in Miami. John was on the bench, sitting with the team on the bench, because he's been working out in Miami.
Working out in Miami.
He hasn't been in Houston since probably December, as far as I remember, as far as I've been told.
Wow.
But there he was on the bench. And he even during delay in action, chopping it up with Kyle Lowry. Kyle's on the court talking to John. I think Dennis Schroeder was sitting next to him. And I'm just like, y'all are good with this brother sitting here on the bench. He ain't been with y'all for months, but y'all okay with him coming back because y'all in Miami?
Wow.
Man.
Must be nice.
So, but, you know, here, let me get into it right here. Here's a point. We're going to talk Cougars for probably the last segment of the show. But I'm convinced that if John would have played more games and been healthy enough to play more games, the Rockets would not be 17-49. It'd be better than that. Oh yeah, no question.
Okay.
Just as I'm convinced that if Jeremy Grant and Kelly Olynyk in Detroit would not have missed a month with injury first and then COVID issues, they'd have more wins now. By far. Mm-hmm. So it's like fans forget that. If they're forgetting what could have happened if John would have played for the Rockets and if Jeremy Grant and KO would have played for Detroit. They would not be in position to get a high lottery pick. So I guess in a sense, be thankful for what you are, what the team is right now.
Yeah.
Having a chance to be one of the 3 worst records in the NBA, to have one of the top 3-4 picks in this upcoming draft. Ask you this, and Brandon, y'all chime in as well. Saw Sam Vecenie's latest draft board today. Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts on Chet Holmgren?
I'm not a fan.
Why not?
I'm not a fan. I'm just not. Maybe I'm early. I think he needs to grow into his body. His talent is there. I see it, but I'm just not a fan. He's okay. It's okay.
He is agreed. He's talented for sure. And Sam Vecenie, and I think the mock drafts I've seen, the guys I trust, have Chet as the number 1 pick in the draft. Period. He's either Chet or Jabari Smith. I'm more Jabari Smith than Chet. But mainly because believe Jabari's ceiling is a little bit higher than Chet's. So, but I'm going to get back to Chet discussion. Well, let's go right there right now. Sam is not concerned / bothered by Chet's thin frame because he believes his skill set will allow him to fit in and excel in the NBA some way, somehow. So he may never be, his frame may not be able to hold, a lot of weight because I think his dad is tall and slim. But his skill set will allow him to be productive. So you got some scouts, GMs who believe his skill set will allow him to overcome his slender frame. But then you got some folks like us and a family in the comments. He's like Sean Bradley thin to me.
I was waiting on you to finish, but yep.
And see, Brandon saying Chet reminds me of KD. I don't know. I mean, Chet, he's taller than 7 feet. He's 7'1", 7'2". He might still get a little taller. I don't think he'll get 7'6" like Sean Bradley. But I just so rail thin. You know, Evan Mobley was slim, but Chet is thin. He's thin compared to Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
So I have that issue. But I think if you partner Chet with a more physical teammate like Isaiah Stewart in Detroit, like Alperen Sengun with the Rockets, I think that tandem could work because you could maximize Chet's skill set. But I worry about his feet. If he does put on weight, I worry about his hips because my man has no butt. Okay, he's just got nothing. Lower body strength, I think it's going to be an issue for him. So, he's got the long arms and all that. We're going to talk about Brandon's comments right here about KD. KD was the thin man, but I don't look at Chet and think of KD. It's not because of skin color.
No.
KD, he was more of a scorer. It could be because of the roles that they had, because the players Chet has around him at Gonzaga doesn't compare to what KD had around him in Texas.
No.
So KD had to do more at Texas than Chet has to do it with the Zags. So I think Brandon is more along with Sam Vicini and believing Chet's skill set will allow him to shine in the NBA. I'm just not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not either.
So let's see how it all plays out, man. So,
and to your point about Evan Mobley's thinness, thinness, one of the first things the Cavs did once he got to Cleveland, hired a personal chef for him. Shout out to Deion Millender. That's his personal chef in Cleveland. And you see now he's thin, but you see the definition is coming. And he has an off season coming up. So between the year 1 and year 2, we'll see it.
I'm going to give you full screen, man, for a minute to talk about Buckeyes and promote yourself, okay?
All right, cool. Buckeyes play tonight, and tip-off is in about 20 minutes. Quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament against Penn State. Penn State this should be an easy win, advance for Ohio State. They are without Kyle Young again. His 4th game he's missed in concussion protocol. Zed Key, sophomore center, as well as sophomore guard Michi Johnson are also both game time decisions with ankle injuries. So Ohio State's coming off an unprecedented run to end the season, 11 games in 27 days to end the season. A couple reschedules there. They finished 6-5. A lot of those games probably with proper rest and a full complement of injuries. You have those players. They don't go 6-5 to end the season, but um, they 20 minutes to tip off quarterfinals against Penn State. The winner of that game plays. Excuse me. They would play. I believe it's Rutgers tomorrow. Let me confirm. I think I'm wrong with that. 1 second.
Yeah, confirm that because I'm not even sure on that. But
Yeah,
segueing
I think I just
into
threw that
our
out there.
local teams we're covering, the Houston Cougars men's basketball team will begin their tournament action Friday afternoon at noon against the 8 seed Cincinnati Bearcats. That game will be on ESPN2, which gives me a chance to just go into our segment sponsored by the awesome Steve Saxenian. We're going to talk some basketball here. And as you see in the upper right corner, Folks Talking Sports is sponsored by Steve Saxenian and the Saxenian family. So, I'm going to trade off and go solo before you
Yes,
come
sir.
back to you. All right. So, here we go. basketball, men's basketball. Cougs 26-5 overall and 15-3 in the American Athletic Conference. They won the regular season AAC championship. Will face the Bearcats Friday at noon. Bearcats defeated East Carolina 9 seed today, 74-63 in the first game of the AAC championship. In that game, Cincinnati's David DeJulius scored 22 points to lead the Bearcats. He also had 4 rebounds and 3 dimes. Junior guard Jeremiah Davenport finished with 11 points and 6 rebounds, while sophomore guard Mike Saunders Jr. added 10 points. Junior wing John Newman III led the way in rebounding with 8 boards and 5 assists. The Cougs are 5-0 inside Dickies Arena, which is the site of the 2022 American Athletic Conference Championship, men's and women's championship. Houston won last year's championship. They went 3-0 last year at Dickies, and they also won 2 other games. They defeated Texas Tech in November of 2020 and beat Oklahoma State December 2021 by 11 points for their 5 wins inside Dickies Arena. The Cougs have advanced to the semifinals of a conference tournament 22 times, made the final 14 times, and they've won 7 conference championships. And if you hear that horn going by, the train horn, I'm in the hood. The Greater Fifth. It's where I live. It's all good. Friday's matchup between Houston and Cincinnati will be the 3rd time the 2 teams have faced each other this season. The Cougs beat the Bearcats 80-58 in Cincinnati. It was a beatdown on February 6th. And then last week on March 1st, beat Cincinnati 71-53 inside Fertitta Center. That segment was brought to you by Steve Saxenian and the Saxenian family. Going to bring back my man Willy Gibson because the season's almost over. We're going to be looking for additional sponsors for the rest of the year because our arrangement with the Saxenian family was for college basketball season. So now we're looking for additional sponsors because we will continue having Folks Talking Sports shows throughout the year. We're getting close to about 3 months away, our 1-year anniversary of Folks Talking Sports. So we'd like to have a sponsor by then in June, hopefully, because we debuted the show with no name at that time, talking about the NBA and NBA playoffs and those good things. And even we morphed into talk about the Olympics and the struggles that Team USA men's team had when they lost to Nigeria and in exhibition and all that. So we've evolved from then to now. We're going to continue our evolution throughout this year. That's the goal and the plan as we expound on different platforms. If Mr. Yanez has a chance to join us in these closing moments, it'll be via audio. But one of his ideas is going to begin tomorrow. He is going to have a post-game show. He's He's going to stream it on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, but also on his Twitter account. Let me pull that up. It's Yanez_5, as well as Pod Slamma Jamma. See if I have it by itself. Yanez_5. If not, here we go. You can follow, be able to stream, watch the show, Less Rage Cougs. Probably 20, 25 minutes after the UH game ends, the post-game show will begin. You can watch it on Twitter at Yanez_5 and Pod, P-A-W, Slamma Jamma, SLAMAJAMA, and also on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Young fella, Mr. Yanez, is hyped about it. He's learning. He's learned, because he's smarter than us. He's learned how to, use StreamYard and do some Zoom stuff. He's trying to do all kinds of stuff I hadn't even thought about doing on here. So he's got that going. So tune in for that. Going to do post-game shows for UH Athletics. The plan is to do it a post-game for the men's team throughout the end of this season. And then in the fall, do it for UH football and basketball. And my goal is to do other sports, other teams in town. It's not just UH. So TSU, Rice, Prairie View, etc. We're going to do post-game shows, another way to interact with the audience. And I'm talking college teams, not just pro. Pro teams got shows. They got the Texans have a show, Rockets have a post-game show, Astros have a post-game show. Folks here in town, they just, do not care about college teams. Well, we're here to fill that gap. So that's what we're going to do. That's one of our goals. But Willy Gibson, to fill that gap, it sure would help if we had people, sponsors, to support us, to help us do more with more rather than more with less. I think we've done a good job of what we can on a limited budget. But we would like to see our budget grow and imagine what we could do with a bigger budget. So tune in Friday, roughly 20 minutes at the conclusion of the Houston Cincinnati game for Less Rage Cougs post-game show. We did it. Have you been on a Twitter space so far?
I have not.
I was on my first one Sunday with Andy and Dan Dunlap and Akib and a few of the other Cougs who either work for the Daily Cougar or cover the Cougs and other endeavors. My first Twitter space, post-game show. It was pretty cool. Technology, the platforms exist. Yep. So that experience, we decided to grow it and include my channel on YouTube as well as the Twitter accounts to combine them. We got positive feedback on it. But Brother Gibson, I think I pointed out to you in previous shows, because one of the listeners of Sunday's show lives in the Fort Worth area. I mentioned during the show that the AAC does not do a good job marketing their championship. Fort Worth, Texas is Big 12 country. Okay? There's no marketing of the AAC championship. This person, this audience member, he's like, great point. I live in the area. I had no idea that there was the AAC championship. I drive around, have seen nothing. Willie, that cannot be, man. That cannot be.
Conversely, you go to Indianapolis the last month, and all you see is Big Ten championship, Big Ten tournament, Big Ten tournament.
You cannot. They got to do better. And I say that knowing full well that Houston will be leaving, going to the Big 12 after another year, hopefully. But for next year, they got to market and promote their event. Once again, Texas is Big 12 country. Period. Big 12 country. You cannot just hope and pray folks going to show up if you don't promote it. You just can't do that. So, and a great way to do that, to start, October, 7 months from now, have the media day in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena. Have the banners all around town. See you in March for our men's and women's basketball championship here at Dickies Arena. That's a great start.
Where are media days now for the AAC?
Last two have been virtual.
Okay.
Previous years had one in New York at the Downtown Athletic Center.
Why?
My first time there. There was no tournament there. Okay. I've attended all of the media days, in-person media day. I was attending the first one. The first couple were in Mohegan Sun. We had one at FedEx Forum, Memphis. And then with the move to Fort Worth, I think the last two, first one was canceled because of COVID. Then last year it was in Fort Worth, but no marketing. That's for the tournaments. Media days have been in New York, Philadelphia. That's where the last three were. Philadelphia, at the Philadelphia Marriott Airport, where Temple plays. But the tournament wasn't there. So why do that?
Where's the AAC headquarters?
Fort Worth. Now, moved there last summer.
Oh, okay. Move.
Yeah.
Where were they before?
Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Because the initial incarnation of the conference, UConn was part of it. You still had a Northeast, media contingent for them.
Sure.
But even then, the conference tournaments were in Memphis. They weren't up there in Mohegan Sun. And now that they've moved to Texas, and I know that some of the employees who were part of the conference when the conference was on the East Coast did not move to Texas. So they had to hire new people, new staff here. So that was an additional issue. Got to fill those spots, and then COVID hit, so all that kind of the delay in the move, everything kind of whatever. But still, promote that event in Fort Worth. Promote the people in. That's TCU country. That is not SMU country. Okay.
Yep.
That's Big 12. I'm giving you free advice. I don't want it to be free because brother could use money. I've been around a long time, got some experience how this stuff works. Michael Resco want to send me out with a bang. My last year covering y'all because I will be going to Big 12 with UH. Hook a brother up. I'm giving you stuff right now. This is basic stuff. Promote your event at Media Day. Have Media Day in October. And promote, have the flyers, banners, all that stuff. Signage. There you go. That's the word. Signage all over. Fans, see you back here in March for our men's and women's American Athletic Conference Championship in 2023. Brother Gibson, I'm going to, I don't say shade. We're going to wrap up this edition of Folks Talking Sports, these closing moments. The Houston Cougars women's team, they exceeded my expectations. They won their first round game. They were the 6th seed in this week's tournament. They defeated 11th seed Cincinnati. So I wasn't surprised they won that game. I was surprised they won by 22. They advanced to the second round to play 3 seed Tulane. That's where I thought the season would end. 3 seed Tulane. I figured that it's done, but they won. Houston beat Tulane, beat them by 8, 65-57, to advance to the semifinals Wednesday night against 2 seed South Florida. The two matchups this season prior, South Florida beat Houston by combined 50 points.
Was that the game? It was like 49-12?
Yeah, last week. Yeah, the last matchup was last Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, there's no way in hell. They only lost by 8 last night. They lost 58-50. So the season ended in the semifinals of the AAC Conference Championship. But Mr. Gibson, that is the 8th consecutive year of no trip to the NCAA tournament for Coach Ronald Huey. Okay. Head coach Kelvin Sampson, contrast that, 8-year at Houston, is once again leading his team to the NCAA tournament. I got friends who joke with me after women's team beat Cincinnati on Monday. watch Houston sign Coach Huey to an extension Monday night. And then when they beat Tulane Tuesday, it's going to be a 10-year extension now because he beat Tulane. That is the fear of the administration. Coach Huey's a good dude. Okay? He's a good dude. But Brother Gibson, 8 years. And Coach Huey in the post-game press conference last night after the loss to South Florida said the future is bright for Houston Cougars women's basketball. Mr. Gibson, I'm going to say it one more time. 8 years and no trip to the NCAA tournament. 8 years. That's too long.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this and let you chime in before we close it out. The Houston Baptist Huskies women's basketball team won the Southland Conference regular season for the first time in program history. HBU women's team earned a double bye to the semifinals of the conference tournament. They don't play till Saturday.
Okay.
That means HBU is 2 wins away from reaching the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. If that happens, and it's still because it hasn't happened yet, if that happens, the Houston Cougars women's team will be the only H-Town College team, women's team, to have not made the tournament in 8 years. HBU would have made it this weekend. TSU's made it. Texas Southern. Rice has made it. And Prairie View's made it within the last 8 years. Well, I mean, what else is there to say?
Is Coach Mouton ready?
Man, I don't know. Somebody got to be ready. I think.
I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
that's I don't know if they'd give her the job if she wants the job. I heard about that. I heard about the comments from Galen and DeAndre Williams. DeAndre Williams talking junk because Memphis beat Houston for a second time this season, and they haven't been to the NCAA tournament yet. He's talking in trash. I mean, seriously, brother, y'all ain't been to the tournament since you were like 12. So I mean, come on, whatever. But if HBU wins, they're the top seed in the Southland Conference women's basketball. If they get it done, Houston will be the last team, women's team, to reach the tournament in these 8 years. What more do you need? And you're going into a better conference with better talent, bigger players, more athleticism. What do you need?
You would think going into the bigger conference, you would want a clean slate, a fresh start. You would think. And for that program not to have made the tournament in 8 years, first of all, that's double the time you would think. I don't know. I think about the coach from Florida Gulf Coast. I just saw it the other day. He was 55 and 57 in 4 years, and he was fired. And I say that because I was watching something on Mike Krzyzewski.
They had a winning year this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I was watching something on Mike Krzyzewski before Duke lost to Carolina on Saturday.
Risk.
And
kudos to Carolina because they took it. They put it to Duke, no question. They took it to him.
And I think it was after his third year at Duke. He was 35 and 47.
Yep.
But they stuck with him, and of course, the rest is history. But 8 years, and you haven't made the tournament. I'm never an advocate for calling for someone's job. I'm not. I'm not that guy. However, what is it, Cabby? What's my guy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yep. We're going to wrap it up with two things because I want to get this in. I was fortunate enough to be on one of the teleconference calls with Tom Burnett, who is ironically the commissioner of the Southland Conference, but he's also the chair of the Division I men's basketball committee. It took place yesterday. I got a chance to ask him two questions because it didn't seem to be like a lot of media folks on the call. I took advantage of the opportunity. And I asked him, in terms of seeding, could it be as simple as comparing two teams, which team has more quad one wins than the other? Houston Cougars fans know why I brought it up because the Cougars, I think, have one quad one win because the team gets scheduled non-conference, power programs, Virginia, underachieved this year. Oregon, underachieved this year. So, teams like that did not get it done. Well, you schedule Power Fives thinking they're going to be good,
Yeah.
So U of H may have one. They beat Oklahoma State, neutral site. And that finally became a quad one victory. So in terms of those metrics, Houston has just one quad one victory. So it does kind of look bad. Whereas something like Ken Palm or the Net had them ranked high, top 5, for most of the season before they lost Memphis on Sunday. Mr. Burnett's response to my question. Again, the question was, in terms of seeding, could it be as simple as comparing two teams, which team has more quad one wins than the other? His answer, I would say not by itself. I think certainly it's one of many factors we look at. We're looking at quite a bit. Who were the quad one teams, the quad two teams that they played? What is their road record? What is their head-to-head record? What could be their record against teams that are in the field as comparison as well? This is also an issue for Houston because I think up until Bryant's win to qualify for the tournament, Houston had the wins over tournament teams, which Mr. Goodman points out all the time. But again, not their fault. Virginia didn't make it, Oregon didn't make it, all the other teams. But anyway, that one isolated example is just that. But the committee is looking at all sorts of factors. Further, as you may be aware, and of course I was, the committee members are very engaged with the 32 conferences, the monitoring program. We are hearing directly on a regular basis from our conference contacts on their thoughts about their conference and what's going on in their leagues. My next question, and we're about to wrap it up, shut it down, was how does the committee handle teams who lose players to season-ending injuries? Also relative to Houston, with Marcus Sasser and Jamal Mark being out since December. The committee has had a long-standing policy to certainly be as informed as we possibly can about injuries. I would say certainly over the past 2 years, we've also added COVID disruptions to that as well. On occasion, we have to address the possibility that a student athlete, of course, I would say student asset, or even a coach at times can be suspended from play. Certainly, the committee wants to know what was the impact of that. How did the team perform with or without certain players, whether it's COVID or an injury, possibly suspension? It certainly factors in. I think ultimately, knowing that a team coming back to full strength may be very different than what it was during a COVID pause or coming right out of that, same with an injury. Committees take that into account. Ultimately, we certainly have to go with the results. We can't presume anything because of a COVID issue or an injury that would have impacted a final result. We do have to kind of live with the results that we've spoken of before. It allows us to move forward with the process. So basically, to go back to if the team, in this case, Houston, were to become full strength, it would change the thought process. Well, Houston is not going to be full strength the rest of the season. The team is who they are. So that's one reason why the seeding may be lower than Coug fans think it should be. But that's where they are. And Coach Sampson said on his media call, on Wednesday, that they're not a great team right now. They're not Baylor. They're not the Zags. They're not Auburn. They have what they have right now, but they're going to compete because, like we talked about earlier in the show, they want to win. Yep. They may not be a full healthy team, but they're not going to lay down and roll over. they're going to give what they have, and if they're good enough to win, another advance in the tournament. If they lose to a better team, so be it. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, as we close it up.
Yeah, as you were reading, all I could think about was Bob Huggins and Kenyon Martin in 2000. That's all I could think about the entire time. Like, man, who was the committee chair that year?
Because they were clearly the best team in the country before Kenyon got hurt.
Yep.
No, I mean, wasn't even close.
Yep.
But then he broke his leg, and that changed everything.
It did. Second round exit, if I remember right.
Yep. Yeah. It changed brackets. It changed everything going forward because they were not the same team, which goes back to one of our points. People talk about next man up. Next man up. Look, if you lose the best player in the country,
right,
it's kind of hard as hell to be the next man up and replace the best player in the country.
Yep.
That's just not going to happen. Next man up. Okay, that's nice in theory. It sounds good. Doesn't mean it's going to work. But, okay, next man up. Okay.
And let me circle back to something that I said earlier. Ohio State, Penn State winner plays Purdue tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. I think it's at Rutgers.
Right.
It's actually Purdue. Purdue gets the winner of tonight's game.
So Jaden Ivey, who's draft stock, who's gone up, and this will be the last thing. Sam Bassini's big board, draft board, has Paolo Banchero now in the 4th spot behind Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey.
He's now at 3, and Paolo is at 4. And Keegan Murray at Iowa got some folks questioning why is Keegan Murray being considered behind Paolo Banchero. Yeah. So, okay. I'm just not convinced on Paolo's game. He just he does not he does not have the alpha mentality to me to be the best player on the floor. And I don't know, I want to use like that. So on my team, you're gonna put up numbers and all that kind of stuff. And, man, go through the motions here and there. I don't need that. No.
All right.
So impact winning. That's what I want. Dudes like that. Brother Gibson, how can folks find you on the internet?
Thank you, sir. Will Gibson 7 on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is Will Knows.
And I am Kris Gardner. And one last thing, I'm going to put it up, give some shine to congratulate the 10 finalists of the Guy V. Lewis Award. Goes to the top boys high school player in the greater Houston area. I'm on the Guy V. Lewis Award Committee. I tabulate the votes and help put out the press releases for the young men. We're going to contact them and invite them to an award reception at the end of this month on the campus of the University of Houston. Mr. Gibson, I feel old because that top name, young man's name right there, Cam Amberee, senior, Shadow Creek High School. I covered his mom when she played ball at Rice.
Oh.
So that I feel so old when I see him about to graduate high school.
I won't say you're old, but that does remind me we have a commemoration on Monday, correct?
Yes, I turned 50 on March 14th. Yeah, the big 50 on March 14th. And when we got the, got the vote tabulated and put out the press release, I contacted Cam's mom, congratulating her, on her son's honor. And I said to her, I feel really old, don't you? And she's like, I bet you do. So, but yes, congratulations to each of those 10 young men, Cam and Bree. Read off the names, folks who can't see it or listening later on the podcast. Podcast available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart. Cam Amberee from Shadow Creek, Keanu Dawes from Stratford, PJ Haggerty from Crosby, Chris Johnson, Elkins, Kenneth Lewis from Booker T. Washington, Jalen Lowe, Fort Bend Marshall, Desai McWright, Cy Falls, Drew Manicki, Cy Ranch, Chancellor White, Foster, and Willie Williams from Westfield. We will announce the winner of the Guy V. Lewis Award on March 29th at the reception, and every young man and their family members are invited to attend the reception. So be the first year in a couple of years we'll be able to do it in person. So looking forward to all that. But yeah, brother, I got my hats in high school basketball, college, pro, women's, men's. I do what I do.
But hold up, you said you tabulate the votes, right? So you already know.
Well, I'm voted on the final.
Okay.
Yeah, the final.
Okay.
Although I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win. Yeah.
I know.
So yeah. But as always, family, thank you for your comments, Brother Gibson. Thank you for your time. We'll connect. When are you available next week, brother? Let's get that on the air so people will know, because next Thursday is the first round of the tournament.
It is. It's a great question. And I may be in Dayton on Wednesday to cover the first four.
Okay, cool.
Thursday looks good.
Thursday?
Or Wednesday? I mean, Wednesday, Thursday.
Let's play it by ear, because it'll depend on probably when Houston plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's play it by ear. We'll see. We'll know matchups and stuff by Sunday, and we'll connect with Andy as well, and go from there. So my man,
happy birthday, sir.
Thank you, brother. I hope yours was good. And Mr. Yanez was not able to join us, but his birthday is March 11th. So
tomorrow,
Friday. So fans who tune in to the Let's Rage Cougs, wish him happy birthday. Andy Yanez and Deion Dunlap will be co-hosting the Let's Rage Cougs post-game show tomorrow after the Cougs Cincinnati game. So tune into that on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, as well as on Twitter at @Yanez_5 and Pod Slamma Jamma. Thank you again. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Been around since 1994. Hope to be around a few years more. Rocket fans, the Let's Talk Houston Rockets show. The next one will be Saturday, March 12th, probably 8 p.m. Central Time. See you there for that. Take care. Peace.